All right. I believe right now is 9:05 and we're gonna start our workshops. And welcome to join our the first equity research workshop and hosted by FEDS. And today we will introduce you guys the research frameworks to help you guys better understand how to conduct like the equity research in a more structural ways. So yeah, so let's just start because like we have lots of models, lots of like the research like structures we have to go through in this entire like the 1 to 1.5 hours. And yeah, so okay, so firstly I would like to have a real warm reminder about like the project timelines. So it seems like today is just like almost like the end of week twos, and everyone will almost like finish like the company research or like start the financial modeling stuff. And the reminder is like the September 29th is like the deadline to submit like the investment memo and pitch deck. So just keep in mind, and we are trying to we are excited to look at your like the research investigations and other reports. So today the like the we will today's meetings, and we will cover like the company research, the industry research, and then probably some part of the like the valuation models. But I believe probably there's not that much of time for us to introduce like valuations. So we plan to host another like workshop next week, the same time. So Saturdays, um, like in the Eastern time is like the 12 to 1:30, and for like the Pacific time it is 9 to 10:30. All right. So I believe here and today's the the workshop, then we will share the uh Zoom recordings and also like the slide deck, and you guys can follow it as like the structure to help you guys to frame your research like the structures. So firstly, let's go to the company studies, and yeah, it's term for ACMEs.
So, hi guys. So today I'm going to introduce the framework and the skeletons for how to conduct the equity research in the company itself. And Jerry is going to take the role to introduce the skeletons for how to understand and industries within the equity research. And lastly, that if there's the time, Horace is going to introduce like some valuation, like a relative valuation method, like precedent transaction analysis. And the other one is comparable analysis. So, all right. So let me just start with the company study. So there's two things that probably people would like to they heard about it from their peers or from someone's words. But like one statement is the company study is simple and we just need to ensure the minimum of time on it. But this is actually not true for a good equity research. Horace, can you just help me click it? Yes. So the company study as somehow it's complicated as long as the analyst would like to provide the unique insights and rationales. So in 2004, there's one of the really famous research is called understanding cost codes. For that, people like the equity research team, they are using like 3 months to conduct a really solid research on what's the structure of Costco, what's their companies like values, rationales, all kind of stuff within like 200 pages. So at this point that it takes time and it could get into deep. And I believe that if you spending more times in conducting the company studies, understanding the values, the cultures, and their organizational frameworks, then you are going to formulate really good insights and rationales when you're doing the equity research. So yeah. And the other one, it's like the company. Someone says company research is complicated for everyone, but not at all because for studying the company, there's the structure that we can use the frameworks using the right tools, and then we can effectively analyze the company within the inform the investment decisions. So yeah, so let me just start with the steps of how can we get into it. So next step. So the structure of the company studies that are able to conduct a lot of stuff. So first of all, to understand the business model, as those companies, your target companies are actually for business model. So therefore, we are gonna analyze the business model for the research targets. Then we're gonna pinpoint out the strategic positions at where those companies locate in. Also, there's going to be the page to analyze the management teams, the organization structures, who is the shareholders, all kind of stuff. Then we're gonna pinpoint out the growth driver and initiatives that's provided from the competitive market or from the companies itself, like their initiatives, their like innovations, sustainabilities. They are talking about that for driving the growth in a couple a month or a couple of years. And also the financial performance that we have to take a deep look into the companies so we can formulate good rationales for the valuations. And also, like, there's going to be the market shares and talk about the competitive landscape of how the markets are doing. So for that part, Jerry is going to introduce a bit in industry part. So yeah, I won't cover that much. And also analyzing the risk of the company that's in the market they are located in or they are competing with other competitors. And also, there's another one for some of the industries. It's going to be good to analyze and understand the ESG, DEI, inclusive sustainability for those, but not for every industries. So at the point that this is actually how we conduct the company study with using several like projects, and then we finally get into these structures. And this helps us to get organized and understand the company well. All right, next step. Yep. So first of all, I would like to introduce the business model analysis. So business model, there's going to be like a lot of frameworks. I think right now we have three. We pinpoint out this most useful one that we are using in doing the research, equity research and the projects we did. So the questions to understand, well, what is the business models? It actually to understand the primary revenue models and also to understand how to create values to the customers as customers, the clients, they're purchasing their services or products, and also what is the most important part, the value chain for the company's success. So I'm gonna introduce the Porter's value chain analysis, McKinsey's business model canvas, and GE McKinsey matrix. Next slide. So one of the things that I'm personally really recommend it's the Porter's value chain analysis because is going to break down the company like operation stuff and also other like supportive activities into pieces so that you can understand how do they make margins and how do they create the values. So for this, that's over here, it's really general. Ideas of how to analyze the value chains from logistics operations to marketing services, all kind of stuff. But if you would like to like in make it like write it up in your presentations or all kind of stuff, then probably you don't have to use using like this big arrow. You can use something else that we. So next workshop, we are going to introduce how to make the professional presentations. But like for this, it's giving you some thought like how we are doing the value chains within different stuffs, different aspects that we consider. All right, so next one. Yes, great. Yeah. So for this one, the next model is the business model canvas. This is really intuitive and straightforward one for you to list down all the information within a like small framework. So key partners, activities, resources, cost structures, and revenue streams. At some points that for those ideas, it's the one you can debrief it from your primary search that you can take a look on the segments, the relationship with the customers, all kinds of stuff together. That and after you conduct this, then you just list it down within this structure, and you're gonna have a look on the company first of all to understand how it works. But like for this, like some of the framework we introduced, they have a little overlapping models by models. So if you doing like three models and then you covered like all different things, then you don't have to conduct another models to that is overlap. So yeah, every model is simple, but after they get developed, some of the models there's some overlappings and you don't really need to do the same stuff together. So feel free to ask me the questions to stop me. Yeah, this workshop. So just being relaxed. All right. Yep. So next one. Okay. So GE McKinsey matrices. So for this, it's going to analyze the business units by determining the market. So one of the hints that we have over here is getting to take a look on the company itself. So like what is the place where the companies that are trying to invest and that have high potentials is high attractiveness, but and also for high competitiveness. So at the point that we have to invest more in the left corners and you get to divest something from the right corners. Yeah. So any questions for the business model itself? Anyone? All right. It seems that there is no questions for how to analyze the business model. All right. So let's just keep moving on. So for the firm's strategic positioning analysis, there's a lot of framework. You can see that there's six that we listed that is useful. And the objective of that is understanding the competitive advantage and the strategic positioning for the company that your target company it is. So you can answer some of the questions like the key competitors, the key segments, the relative market shares. So using the frameworks that you're probably gonna see the Porter's five force models, SWOT analysis, BCG matrix, VROI frameworks, and also there's like something that we personally gonna use it, but it's not necessary that everyone use it for every of the company study. So with the little star on the top for those models is optional, but you can take a look on that. We're gonna send it out the slide for to you guys, and if you guys wanna use it, you can definitely follow those analysis frameworks, but it's a good hint for you to understand how we are trying to do it, and it's really efficient and effectively for study that. So let's keep moving to the Porter's five force models. So five force models, it's one of that you can study the competitiveness of the industries, and also you can focusing on one small company. So some people use that for the industries. So we just but like if you would like to be more specific, Porter's five force model is going to be under the studies company. What's the threat? What is the bargaining powers? Then what is the rivalries for the companies? So at this point, that's the valuation like system is like you're gonna figure it out the important stuff like within like different like parts, different groups, and then like different groups. And then you're gonna give it rating like high, moderate, low, etc. So so at this point that I mean, like within five different levels, you're gonna give a scale. You're gonna balance it yourself, and then you can using some of the stuff that you just discovered and fit under these groups and to analyze whether your rationale is correct or not to understand the companies and the company within this industry. All right, next one. Yes, and the other one is pretty simple, the SWOT analysis, understanding the strengths, the weakness, the threats and opportunities for the companies within the industries. So at this point is that some people use it SWOT for the company studies, some of them using for the industry studies, but either way is fine. That's you can understand what is the competitiveness of the companies and following some questions like how to use the resource, what's the advantage, is there technology advantage, is there opportunity, is that open for this markets uh, to gain more market shares, etc. So those questions like related to this and following under these structures, you are definitely get into understanding how different like four different categories over here are for the company. Next one. Yep. This one is the value rarity immutabilities organization frameworks. So this is like the decision tree. It's a simple version of decision tree for you to understand whether it's valuable for the company's priorities, for the long-term competitive advantage, and then you use this to allocate the resource. So for this framework, it's actually for you to understand if company there are some resource, there are capabilities, and how are they going to invest? Are they going to put that into creating the values or creating the competitive advantage through some opportunities? So let's dive deep into it and getting detailed decision-making trees so that you can have a clear mindset of how this company is going to do in the future. Next, yeah. So one of the stuff that I highly recommend is the BCG matrix. So using BCG matrix, you can analyzing the company within like what is the most important stuff for them, what generates the steady revenue streams, and also like to think about what part of the company is going to get divest. So they have four different symbols for categories: star, cash cow, question marks, and dogs. So we get rid of the dogs. We invest more in the stars. We just keep constant with the cash flows. And there are some question marks you have to take time to look. So for this, you can definitely using market shares and the growth opportunities to think about which product for the company or which service it's good for them and generates a steady revenue stream. Next. This one is optional for the rule of 3 and 4. This is one of the hypotheses that BCG's founder he proposed in his throughout his entire career life. So for this, that he proposed for there's going to, for a steady for a equilibrium company industries that there's going to be like three major company within like four small company, and then the rest of them are the survivor or the startup or little stuff. And the market share is going to be 4 to 2 to 1. So the top three companies, they have like roughly half of the market, and then there's the rest of four companies they acquire like 20% of the market share, and the rest of the small companies there's going to be some of them going to exit the market or get merged by the other like the other companies, etc. To make that the market share tends to be equilibrium. So for this is to understand the company's like strategies, how are they going to do within the industry, like how industry perform. All right, next one. Okay, the other one is strategic position and action evaluation space matrix. For this, it's going to be not that complicated, but it's going to be quantitative. That's there's numbers, there's the scales. You evaluate the scales from the financial strength, competitive advantage, industry attractiveness, and environmental stabilities. You might see that for this, it's going to be somehow a little similar to what we have in the past, like within that frameworks, like the attractiveness and the stability for the industries. For those as a point, this one is give you the numbers. Some of them are there's no numbers, but this one there's numbers, there's the arrows, there is the axis, so that you can definitely see what should be the correct strategy for them, for being aggressive, being competitive, being defensive, like all these like characteristics that you can totally understand it throughout this space matrix. And yeah, it's not necessary to complete that for every of the company studies, but you can definitely see something over here. So do you guys have any questions for the strategies and positioning stuffs? Any questions? Feel free to talk to me if you have any questions regarding the structure, okay? All right. It sounds there's no questions for the frameworks, and we are going to send out this presentation to you guys to take a look for your projects. So, all right, let's keep moving on. So we have the management and organizational structures. We're gonna analyzing the companies with their leadership teams, decision-making process, organizational structures, the cultures for their management teams. So so some people is going to concern that if, for the companies that have like bad results or bad stock share price, or they just dropped 30% within like last couple months. So at some points that we're gonna understand like who is the CEO, what are they trying to do, and what's the ideas that for the companies that are trying to moving on. So at the point we are going to introduce the McKinsey's 7S frameworks, and also like within that frameworks, there's something that they actually captured. For example, the leadership and successions, corporate governance, and also investors and major shareholders. So yeah, in your equity research, there's supposed to be one page to talk about the shareholders, investors, the CEOs, and the C-suite management teams, etc., to understand how these companies are trying to do and to keep organized with those people's lead. So next page. Yep. So McKinsey has 7 frameworks. So for this, there are like 7 different aspects from strategy, structure, system, share values, skills, staff, and sales. So this is more qualitative studies that you just having lots of information, you trying to put stuff make into little bubbles. And you can take them definitely take a look and think about, do common values match the organization strategy, structure, and systems? So the companies that have their overall goals, that's their initiatives, how this company is trying to get moving up and trying to become better. But how does each of the information you collected, like the strategy, the structure, the stuff, that align with the company's missions and values? So if there's some problems that there's leads to the problems for the companies, and it gonna affect on the share price. So definitely this is going to be the internal alignment for you to take a deep look into the company, like each part of the company, and then to see if there's the leads to the problem or issues. So that's besides the 7S matrix, then we just skip the rest of the others, because the rest of others is actually for you to collect some information and understand the company structure a bit. And do you guys have any questions? No? All right, great. So, and then we're going to talk about the growth drivers, strategic initiative for the companies. It's a little different from the one I just mentioned. For the one that I talked about in previous sections, it's going to be strategic positioning. For this, it's going to be like, what is the initiatives and the growth drivers from their products, from their service itself. So it's more dive deep into the product or the business unit. So we're gonna understand from what business unit or what is the one that helps the company to acquire more market shares or to have faster growth. So it's the product offerings, the service offerings, and how does that going to help with to respond to the new competitive threats. So 4 different frameworks that we use usually. One of that is the Ansoff matrix. So for that, it's one of the simple models to analyze this. It's one of the basic fundamental versions of BCG matrix. And then we have the blue ocean strategies that think about which strategy, which type of stuff for different markets. There's different ideas for them to thrive. And there's balanced scorecard that McKinsey through horizon. So let's just take a look on that. So the Ansoff matrix, so we just talk about what is the products, what's the markets, anything that corresponds to the products. If there is existing product, what's the new products, how's the market, existing market and new market. So you have to think about whether you have the market development, you have some diversification, you have penetrations. Like this is a little similar to the BCG matrix. If you do one, then you don't have to do another one. So based on this, that you can definitely see what business units are you going to keep and what business unit you don't have to keep. So at this point, yeah, it's just a little similar to BCGs, but this is not that clear than the BCG because this is the fundamental models for BCG matrix. All right, next page. Yep. The other one is to figure that out what markets are trying to enter or trying to survive. So there's a red ocean strategy and blue ocean strategies. It's better to underscore that the companies are get into some of the markets that without competitions. So trying to differentiate themselves, making capture new demands and break the value cost trade-off. For those, is going to be really, really important to the companies that they are trying to enter the markets. For the red ocean strategy, it's a little too conservative that you have to beat the competitions, you have to win out from a existing demand. So it's going to be way harder than the blue ocean strategies. So if you can definitely see there is the trend or there is the stuff that the company, your target company is trying to do or they can do, propose this as the rationale as it's going to be way better to capture more equity share, implied share price. And especially, I would like to mention one of stuff that for equity research. So in real life, there's going to be you can definitely do like long, short, or hold. But for equity research competitions, that is way better to only introduce um buy rating because people's like more people who like to listen like how you are going to invest and getting more profit. So yeah, just one little reminder that in real life it could having like hold uh long or short, but in equity like pitch competitions, that's probably just using just having something like buy is way better than you have something to sell. All
All
right, next.
right. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So let me just add up a little bit. If like the competition or for the stock pitch competition, if they are mentioned, they only have like the short strategies. Okay, go ahead with the short. Otherwise, the buy rating is like the more advantage because like everyone would like to see the interesting values that you just provide. So the buy rating is the better one for most of like the competitions.
All right, next page. Okay, so for the balance scorecards, for this models, I'm not usually using this because I covered all kind of stuff within other models. But yeah, one things to mention, if you like to use it, just one simple ones to help to understand the internal process, what is the initiatives that the company is going to improve, what's the client satisfactions, the client itself, and also the finance, that what is the financial results for the companies. So for this balanced scorecard that you can definitely using this frameworks as the one you trying to understand the companies and balance the starting from the financial performance and what is the trade-off of the innovations and internal process, the cost, etc. So it's going to be really brief slice of cake that you can understand the company. Yeah, but if you have other methods that capture all four of them, then you don't have to use it. Yep. And then this is McKinsey's like three horizons. This is really good for kind of conducting the rationales for the company, as the horizon is actually the for their future plans for the for your target company. And for the horizon one, it's 1 to 3 years, and horizon two is like 3 to 5 years, and then horizon three is actually the new integration with the future outlooks with like 5 to 10 years later. What are they going to do? So if you can like for horizon one and two is definitely the one you're gonna see it within a really short period of time, and there's trying to be the transition, so business transformations from one to another. They're probably going to expand. They're going to do something new that integrates artificial intelligence over there. There's going to be a lot of things that you can propose. But like for the horizon three, it's going to be the market. So if you definitely understand all kind of stuff throughout, so like different models, different stuff, and you think you propose your ideas, then the horizon three is going to be like this framework is going to provide you a lot of headshots on how to get into the rationales and propose really unique perspectives. So yeah, for this is not not required to complete for every project, but highly recommended because for myself that I use this a lot to understand what this company is going to do in the future. All right, next. So after like that, we're going to get into the financial performance for the company studies. So do you guys have any questions regarding the previous sections? Or just give me a thumb up if you don't have any questions. All right, great. I see Sarah's hand. Okay, Jerry. Okay, Adam. Great. All right. All right. Awesome. Awesome. So, okay. So for the financial performance, when we start to take a look at the company that the original like financial performance is pretty important. That there's a couple like analysis methods you can definitely take a look, but you don't. It's not necessary to put it in the slides or but like this is the first step if you get into the company studies that you understand the current financial performance, some of the values, some of the ratios. Those helps you to build up the valuation models for in the end. So yeah, so one suggest stuff is DuPont analysis, financial ratios, economic value added, and return on sales. So just next page, and then we can discuss that a bit. So for DuPont analysis, for this, it's actually generated by GE. That's their people's trying to using this to calculate the return on equity, return on assets. For those ratios, it actually helps you to understand the profitability of the company. So return on equity, return on asset, return on ratios. Like for those, is actually talk about the profit margins, the asset turnover, the leverage for the companies. So there's just actually it pretty similar. It's just math equations. So after you have like the revenues and net incomes, etc., then you're using those different aspects, you multiply together to figure out the return on equity within the percentage so that you can definitely see which company is better. Like right now, you definitely can see over here, you have Microsoft, you have Apple, you have Google, right? So within 2016, that which company is way better? You can definitely tell that the return on equity is the highest one, the better, Apple. So yeah, this is really intuitive, like aspect for you to understand whether the company it's they have good financial performance or not. Like right over here is that Twitter it sucks within like negative 10% of return on equity. So that means they're not generating the values as a point. They are losing the money for the companies, and they have to be responsible for their shareholders. So if you see that's the performance like the company like that, then you're gonna question their business model, business strategies, and their competitive analysis. So yeah, so from financial aspects, there's going to be a lot of stuff you can definitely tell throughout the analysis, like looking at the financial statements. Yeah. So every numbers over here, you can definitely see it in the financial statements or in the 10K or 10Q like reports that they are going to talk about that. But in the basic part, you just analyze and using the formulas in the Excel, then you can calculate everything over here. The next one. Yes, great. So the financial ratios, there's a lot of stuff that to understand for different industries and in different sectors, there's going to be a lot of like different aspects that people more care about. For example, the liquidities. That if you can understanding like the liquidities for the companies, for examples, if you are in the financial like institutions, that you're gonna understand and make sure that there is a good liquidity for them. Otherwise, there is going to be really high risk for them if they're holding too much assets that is long term. There, it's low liquidity. Then the company, after there's some circumstances like COVID-19 pandemics, where there's something like the crude oil is there's problems, then the companies facing the high risk over here. So and also for the profitabilities, that's sometimes the profitability it's really important one to understand the margin for the industries and for specific companies. So yeah, Horace, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah. When I just think about like liquidities, the Silicon Valley Bank bankrupt, that is like one of the signals because like in their asset portfolios, they set too much of like the long-term debt instead of like the cash. So when they are facing like the bonds devaluing, and they have to just clear all their long-term debt and long-term like the bonds to get the cash. So that caused like the Silicon Valley banks to bankrupt.
Bankrupt.
So
Yeah.
somehow when we are trying to manage all like the operationals and to focus on like the operational efficiencies, we have to access like the liquidities to double check like the financials for the companies and that they maintain really good like liquidities. Otherwise, we probably will concern their like the operationals and also like the activities.
Yeah. And for most of the companies, like besides the liquidity, they are talking about the profitability. What's their gross profit margins? What is their net profit margins? So within the industry, there is the average for the industries. That if your companies that performs worse than that, that means during the operation process, there's some problems over there. You waste a lot of monies. And also, if you have like higher gross margin, profit margin means that your product it's at some point is profitability. It's a way much better like than the industries. But like we're gonna see like what's going on with their management teams and how are they going to keep continue with that or not. So yeah, there's a lot of ratios over here. And also for some companies that they're really care about the asset turnover rate, just like Costco, that we analyze that the turnover rate is going to be one of the most important stuff for the companies because they are selling the products and they're trying to maintain their turnover rates within the specific times. Otherwise, there's going to be the inventory is going to be the one to reduce values. So, all right. So I will send out those like information so that you can definitely understand what's going on with like those ratios. Yeah, it's good to understand that. The other one, this is economic value added. So this one, it's at some point it's pretty simple stuff. So you just use your sales or the revenues, you subtract the cost and then you subtract the cost of capitals. So it's the capital multiplied by WACC. So for to understand the economic value added, it's just to understand how the company is trying to create values. So this model it's way too easy and it's hard to actually you put it in your equity research presentation pitch deck. But it's good for you to have a sense that how does the company trying to make values. Next page. Yeah, return on sales and relative market shares matrices. So yeah, so some of the company in their financial statements they provide lots of like categories, and we have we generate like 6.3 billions in section A. We have like 8.7 billions in section B, etc. So how does the return on sales and the relative like market shares for that specific business unit? It's how people's or the companies trying to understand for their operational efficiencies. And at this point, that this is going to be a really good breakdowns if you have the enough data. Otherwise, it's hard to draw like those graphs. And but this is going to be good if the company provides so detailed information. Just like some uh, big firms, they're doing this, but some smaller companies probably not. Yeah, it takes time and takes more efforts to have to collect all the information by them and to talk to people. So at the point that if it's possible, writing something like this is way better than you just have the revenue growth. It's better to have like within the different business units and the relevant market share for each of them. Okay, next one. Yeah, do you guys have any questions for the financial stuff for the company? Any questions? No? All right, so let me just quickly introduce the competitive landscape and market shares, how to acquire them. And the idea is to actually to analyze the company's position within the industries. So next page. So competitive advantage matrices. So this is actually to help you to understand how company trying to compete with the cost leaderships, differentiations, and hybrid strategies. So yeah, I mean the cost and differentiation, it's to balance, it's going to be the one for companies to think about how to balance it. And because if there's the cost, then what are they going to do? Like, they are going to make something new, create something new, or they are going to minimize the cost. Depends on the business cycles and depends on the company's like development period. Next page. Yeah, economic value added. I mean, this is like HHI indices that how does this one gonna work for the um for the company. So this is another hypothesis that generated over here, and it's a little it's easy to understand it. Like if the HHI index approach to zero, this means that every firm is it's pretty similar to each other. I mean in a competitive market. But if there is the maximum value is 10,000 points, and if it reaches like as close as to 10,000, that means that the market is controlled by one single firm, and that is not competitive. It's just monopoly. So at the point that if the market is above like 1800s, then it's considered like high concentrated. So if a highly concentrated market, there's no that much of opportunity for you to join and to participate. So this one is for you to understand a bit about like the company, how the market process and how competitive the company is, and if there is the barriers and what's going on with the industry. So this one just for your information to understand it. Next page. Strategic group analysis is the one that you figure out like two different stuffs. So there, like over here, they talk about the geographic coverage and the price slash quality. Like yeah, quality. Like these two indicators, there's not limited to that. So you can definitely using like cost or using some innovation scores, etc., to draw the strategic group analysis over here. It's just for you to understand different groups within in the industries, what are they trying to do and how did they perform well. So yeah, just using some factors to understand the critical analysis. Next page.
Yeah, and also let me just add a bit. So
Yeah.
when you're conducting like strategic group analysis, you can find like the similar companies have like the similar product or a similar price or even like or a similar market shares companies, and then you can find direct competitors other than oh it's really big, really like the market leaders. Probably you're a small companies. You're not shooting to beat the market leaders. You have to or consider your direct competitor. So this one is useful in identifying who's your direct competitors.
Yes, exactly. So for valuation, there's like a relative type of valuation methods that you compare with the similar companies in the industry. So this one helps you to understand which company is it's somehow similar to mine and your to your targets. Then you can use their average and to calculate the value for your company. So yeah, next page. Structured conduct performance models for this is help you to understand the influence of companies' conducts, the behaviors, and how the conduct impact the performance. So this is like associated with each other, so like how the conduct, the structure, the performance, everything related to each other's. And this one, it's just the really basic qualitative frameworks to understand the behavior, the pricing, the profitabilities, and how do they generate the competitive edge in the industries. So this is going to in this one could be really complicated as there's a lot of stuff that it's covered is a little more general, but if you have something you just completed, feel free not to use this. I mean, yeah, if you covered everything in other models, then this is one it's not necessary for completing everything like again. So yeah, next page. All right, and then we have the risk assessment structures. So for this is to understand the risk that the company is going to face. And this one, it's really interesting that you can definitely use it as the risk and mitigation part for your study. So I'm gonna introduce the risk matrix, and Pastel is going to. This one is not only used for the company, but it's for industries much more. So at the point that in industry part, Jerry is going to introduce how to do the Pastel analysis. So I'm just going to talk about the risk matrix. So the matrix that right here I'm demonstrates the risk matrix within 5 by 5 like square. But actually, you can just having 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. It's not necessary to having like so many, you figure out so many risks associated with the company. And basically for this is going to be like you have the likelihood and the consequence, and you rank it from low to high regarding to this. And then we have to get reduced with the major or the most important like risk or high risk over there, and we're trying to get rid of the to avoid and mitigate the critical risk, and then from the right corners, and the rest of them are trying to just to brainstorm and understand what is the key risk for this company and for the market, and operational risk, regulatory risk, market risk, or the company risk that probably they have some they signed some agreements where they have some strategy that is going to explode like exposure like under some of the risk, and then it's going to be the problem you just the concern you have you list over here. So this one is just a quantitative like studies. That's how you are trying to mitigate the risk. To think about it within much more, not just one, two, or three of them, but think about 9, 16, like within this framework. Okay,
Yeah,
next. Yeah.
yeah. For when you're doing like the stock pitch or like even like the slide decks, um, there's like the page like called risk and mitigations that you can brainstorm lots of risk and then to figure out which like the strategy to how to mitigate those risks. And that's like if you consider really like thoughtfully and you have really good like real clear like the plans to mitigate those risks, and you're gonna be and your reports will be really like solid.
Yep. And then for the last part for the company study, the company research is actually to talk about sustainability and ESG analysis. It's not necessary to have it for every industry. So some of them are actually eco-friendly, but for energies, for some like oil, crude, like those industries that people's probably gonna think about the sustainability for the company. Otherwise, there's going to be leads to problems of investments and to formulate the investment strategies. So at the point that to analyzing with the ESG ratings benchmarks by those um, really prominent organizations that have their rating systems, yeah, you can definitely use that. Or you use some share value frameworks, triple bottom lines, etc. to understand the ESG matrices, ESG principles that how does the company trying to propose for the ESG. So let's just take a look and quickly like go through that. So ESG ratings from those companies to or from like big organizations, they have their evaluation systems to talk about the environmental footprints, the social responsibilities, governance of the companies, how they are trying to contribute better to the societies. So at the point that they have some rating systems like AAA, AA. This is not for credit, but for ESG. So yeah, just take a look and understand how those your target companies trying to formulate their ESG principles and how are they going to contribute over there. Even their traditional industries, it's high pollution, but how are they trying to do it and make it better, not to do something harm more to the world, to the globalize. So yeah, this is going to be one of the stuff to think about for if someone is going to analyze the energy part. Next page. Yeah, triple bottom line, it's another like the frameworks that people is trying to do to think about the profit, think about the people, think about the planet. And I mean for this, I don't have anything else to mention, but you can definitely take a look over here. It's optional. Yeah. Next page. And the share value framework, it's I think it combines everything's for ESG status from the consumer side, employees, governance. So this is to trying to creating value for the society. To think about how the companies that creating value to the society, especially think about in to customers, environments, employees, governments, like etc. And so make creating values. First of all, creating value. Second of all, like how does that going to impact the environment itself? So from ESG's perspectives. So still, like those are optionals, and not every industry is going to be asked with this. So yeah, that is for company. Does anyone have any questions? If there's no questions, give me just a thumb up, okay? All right, great. Okay, let me just switch the gears to Jerry.
Okay, okay. Shall I use your PowerPoint? Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay. Um, Hi everyone. I'm Jerry. So, I will talk about the industry analysis and some steps how to do it today. So, firstly, I need to make several clarifications, especially to common mistakes when you easily made like in industry studies. Okay, firstly, common mistake, failing to define the relevant industry and market segments. Okay, so yes. Okay, so failing to define the industry of a company, like it will result in a too broad or too narrow scope of analysis. For example, if you are trying to analyze the energy company, but you just find out they're doing like natural gas or coal business, but unable to find out they're actually investing in renewable energies, that may result in a big error in the ESG analysis. In order to avoid this mistake, you should not only use Google. I mean, Google is a good tool, but just don't Google everything. You should like investigate the company based on their products, services, and customers. Uh, you can actually just look at their 10 keys, visit their company website, something like that. And another common mistake is presenting the industry analysis without clear insights. So many of the analysis, including the company models. So there are so many models. Which one should I use? Which one should I choose? A wise choice is getting familiar with this frequently used model and combine your own understandings. That's a very important step because models are just tools. It's actually, you know, if you have a very good idea in your mind, you are just using these tools to show your ideas to the investors. So highlight your key findings and convince the investors using a proper analysis. This model's just to help you present. It's just a form. The key is your insights. Next page. Okay, so steps before we using models. Firstly, industry clarification. Okay, that's clearly define what industry you're studying. That's very important. And secondly, go check the industry statutes. That's overview of industry development, industry analysis chain, value chain, industry history, something like that. And next, you should analyze the market, like market capacity and supply, demand, and how is this a market like easy to entry? And next one is competition statute. You need to make sure the industry's competition pattern, profit level, and maybe major competitors, these leading companies. And next one, you should figure out the external factors like policies, norms, standards like tax or tax credits. These are some these external factors like are very important in analyzing some industries. You know, like renewable energies or battery makings. This industry may not be good themselves, but under with government support, they're actually a good target to invest. And the next one, key metrics, that's actually the most important thing because The purpose we analyze the industry is to help you analyze a company. So there are not actually so many there are not actually so many models to private for you to analyze an industry. So we need to figure out these key metrics like entry barriers, mortalities, cost structure, technology, supply chain, distribution, manufacturing, and maybe your supply side and demand side. So I would take Amazon and its retail industry as an example. Okay, firstly, you might want to make sure what kind of industry is Amazon in. Absolutely retail, but you need to make sure like Amazon has its online proportion and also offline in-person stores. And next, check if retail is a good industry. Of course, retail is a good industry. It has a very long, very long history and also a mature industry development. And next, market analysis. The market capacity for retail industry is, of course, very big, and commodity market is pretty important and common in any places. And then you can make sure this might be a good retail might be a good industry to study because it is it is frequently analyzed and frequently used. And for next one, competition statute. Okay, Amazon, it is one of the major competitors and maybe one of the biggest. So and you need to figure out like how many other major competitors are in the retail industry, like Walmart, Best Buy, since like companies like that can compete with Amazon, and then you can try to include, okay, what is the advantage of Amazon to compete with other companies? And the next one, external factors, policies, norms, standards. I'm not really sure like what policies are supporting Amazon, but if there is something like tax or tax credit, you can make sure like these external factors are helpful or not helpful to to Amazon. And key metrics, of course, these are I will explain in the next few slides. And next one.
All right, sure. Let me just add a bit. Especially in the industry classification, that is really the most like the difficult or challenge one in conduct like the industry research. But when you are trying to do the industry research, don't just narrow down really quick to really specific in industry or sectors. So if just like the Amazon is like the as examples, it's retail industries, and then go little narrower is e-commerce giant. So e-commerce, and then but the Amazon not only like the e-commerce, there's like also other like the lot like the activity they involve in their operations. So if you are considering for doing like the Amazon or like the equity research, probably if you want to look at the industries, the retail is one, and then also like others like probably the other industry also gonna involve inside. So yeah, so just like long sentence short, doing the industry research, uh, you have to make sure you have really like the large view or like the broad view first, and then narrow it down to give you more accurate or like the more details. All right, let's move to the next one. So
Okay, firstly, cost structure, of course, aggregate various types of cost and make a summary about an industry's cost distribution. So what can we get from a cost structure graph? Okay, so we can see from this graph, the main cost of retail industry is the purchases. So and then this might give you insight. So if a company is able to save is able to bargaining with its suppliers and decreases the purchase cost, it might have a very large advantage among all other retail companies. And the second one is wages. Well, you know, if a company is able to decrease, I mean, that's immoral, but if a company is able to decrease its workers' wages, it can save a lot of money. So this can also be considered a big advantage among this. So based on cost structure, you can say like the industry's main cost and how a company can save this cost and decrease this cost to get an advantage in it. Okay, so next one. Industry supply chain. A supply chain is a network of all individuals, organizations, resources, activities, and technology involved in the creation and sale of a product. You can evaluate the industry by focusing on the supplier side and the buyer side. So it simply gives you an overview, like what's the upstream and the downstream of an industry. Okay, so this is also related to the bargaining power. So imagine that if a company like Amazon, it has a lot of suppliers, and if one supplier in it suddenly increases prices of the product, Amazon can actually like just okay, you increase the products or a price of the product, but it doesn't matter. I have so many suppliers, and it doesn't matter. I will just choose others. Then it has a very large company power when communicating with the supplier side. And also, more supplier means various types of products, and that's a retail that's what a retail company should do, like that is provide more types of products in one stores or e-commercely, which is also an advantage of this company. For buyers, I'm sorry. For buyers, if you have if your buyers are all like loyal customers, or these customers can accept an increase in your in your products, a company will be able to like increase their prices and make more profit. Next one. Okay, life cycle. Understanding the industry cycle means you have monitor changes and determine the risk associated with each new stage that the business enters. Okay, so quantity grows, quality grows, maturity, and decline. So simply the quality grows and quality grows are simply means the stage that company are growing. Actually, the quality growth are maybe the best way, best period to invest in a company, but you cannot make sure. Maturity simply means a company like its operation, its products, and its selling method market is close to saturation, and it is stable. And decline, you absolutely don't want to invest in it because you know the company is declining. And doing a life cycle can help you determine a company's stature, and then make sure like you don't misunderstand with something like, I mean, you don't want to invest in a declining company. Yeah. Okay, market potential, that's similar to the life cycle analysis. It's also helping you understanding the industry which your target company operates, along with analyzing market demand and growth potential. It helps you make projection and develop a sound investment rationale. So total addressable market and serviceable available market and serviceable obtainable market. Understand the potential market, the shares, and the growth potentials, and also like try to understand the CAGR's technology, consumer behaviors, and regulations. And you want to determine like where your company is located, and combine with this characteristics and do analysis and better help you evaluate these companies. Yes. Next page. Pastel analysis. That's a part like when you're analyzing external factors, this model will be frequently used. The objective is examine political, economics, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. So we can see in the right graph, all these six graphs are helping you, are contributing to the pestle analysis, and I mean, political factors like how government actions and policies influence the company, including this regulations and tax credit or something like that. Economic, like the broader economics health, like the national unemployment rate, that can be regarded as a economic factor. Well, retail, for example, like if local economy is very good and it is getting better, it means customers will have more have a bigger willing to purchase everything, like including commodities, and purchase better quality products, and then like a retail store is be able to sell more and sell better and get more profit. For the social part, it's usually related to the concerns about this concerns and culture, like demand culture and cultural aspects of the external environment. This looks this looks at the population growth, age distribution, culture trend, and lifestyle changes. Like if a store introduce more high technology products, well, it will absolutely attract more youngs, especially when you can get a Switch or something like that in a retail store, you will absolutely visit it more frequently. Next one, technological. I have to say, like technological development, that's one of the most uncertain factor in the pestle analysis, because you cannot really expect like a sudden technology breakthrough or something like that. And even some companies announces that it has again a new technology breakthrough, or like we have new products on our way, unless the technology is actually showed, like it is actually showed and the product is mature. Maybe you should be suspicious, and you need to have a question mark on the technology growth. I mean, of course, it's a very good long-term analysis for the company, but just have a question mark on it. Next one is legal part. So it involves the regulatory environment in which you operate, like compliance with laws and regulations. It is simply just close to the political factor, but legal, it's more like citizen concerns. Like if you do some immoral actions, examples will be like if a retail store can actually hire their employees, like and with wages like $25 per hour, but it doesn't, like this company is trying to reach more profit, and only hire people like in the most in like $15 per hour. That's on that might be higher than the minimum wage requirement, but might be considered like illegal and not a good company. Next one, environmental. That is related to the ESG gains, and like for energy companies or this electricity companies, the way where is their electricity or energy comes from? It comes from coals or natural gas, this old energy resources, or like renewables. I mean, solars, wind. That is also works for chemical factories, like where its pollutants should be. If you if the company just exclude all its pollutants into the river, that is absolutely not a good. That's actually a downside in the environment part. Yeah, so you combine with Well, I mean, you combine the 6 factors into one pistol analysis, but sometimes in order to save space or highlight some key points, you may you may just analyze 4 points or 3 points. Like if a company is not related to like technology factors, you may just analyze the rest of fives. Just be flexible. Okay, next page. What volatility? Volatility is actually it's just actually another way to help you locate a company, like where locate the industry, like where this industry is on. Let's see the x-axis, the revenue growth, below GDP growth and above GDP growth, and the y-axis volatility, is it low or high? Based on that, we can actually get four different parts. This is retail volatility versus revenue growth. We can actually say is the GDP growth of the retail industry is between the stringent and blue chips, and the volatility is pretty low. That means retail industry is a pretty stable, but is pretty stable and around average growth. That means it will be a pretty good industry to invest in, and also then you check where like your company, the company you are trying to analyze is, and just to say like if my company is above GDP growth, like relative to the industry, or has a high volatility relative to the industry because of like some risky operation methods. And yeah, next page. Um, Outlook and forecast. Let's simply use scenario analysis or sensitive analysis to model different outcomes based on market conditions. We can see there's the driver 1 and driver 2 here. It is simply just two key factors that you want analyzes. You want to analyze in your industry research. I mean, I can give an example. Um, I can give an example like just using retail again. So maybe your driver 1 will be customer loyalty, and driver 2 will be your product's turnover rate. If your customer loyalty is much higher, like your customers are all very loyal, and your product's turnover rate is very high, that means the industry or the company like is at a very good stature, and can make very good profit. You can give your maybe you can give your points or investment thesis based on this scenario. And this model is actually similar to the models on volatility. I mean, you can simply just take driver 1 as revenue growth and driver 2 as volatility, and maybe you can add a third driver, like to divide the case into more scenarios. So that is what I mean. The model are just for the way you present it, but the key is your points, is your insights. Okay, next one.
Yeah. So I just want to add a little comments like for the last one. So yeah, just as what Jerry mentioned, the for the model itself, like 2x2, it's going to be easy for you to think about the drivers and the most important stuff, and to analyze to make the scenario analysis for those, like for the market or for growth like projections. But like for 3x3, it's somehow a little harder, that you're going to consider more scenarios, and sometimes it's hard to quantify your projections. So at the points that taking account into the most important like ideas or the factors to think about it, I think this is going to be what the outlook and the forecast this category would like to see. It's your projections for two most important stuff, and to doing the scenario analysis. And if you are capable to doing like 3x3, then you can definitely do that, but it's just take more effort and hard. Yeah.
So any questions?
Yeah, any questions for all the stuff like for the industry's research? Or no, just to show the like the response, like a thumbs up or something, write something in chat, and we know. That's perfect. And then, do you guys have any questions? Like, if I just go through like the business valuations, and it's gonna take more, it takes like about another like the 1 hour or even more, and you're gonna just over our times. So we would like to stop right here. And for next week, we will have like the business evaluation and the guide or like some suggestion how to make a professional business slide deck. So that's like the next Saturdays, the same times, um, like the 12 to 1 p.m. That is for Eastern times, and then the 9 to 10:30. That is for the Pacific times.
Yeah. And one things to mention is that I think like Horace, like a couple weeks ago, sent out a guide to how to write the investment thesis in the Slack. So feel free to take a look on that if you are trying to do the rationales for the project in week 3. And for valuation, if there's any questions, feel free use Slack to contact us and to address issue. We can schedule a really short times to discuss your models, etc. So there's going to be like 3 models that we recommend to use it: DCF, that discounted cash flows, present transaction analysis, and a comparable company. So sometimes the transaction is hard to figure that out, but if you are not capable to do it, you don't have to do that. But like for comparables and DCF, I think it's most important and relative to the valuation part of the models for the product. So at the points that if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We are glad to answer any questions that you guys have. Okay.
Yeah, and to wrap up, for those like the frameworks to conduct like the company research and industry research, that really depends on any each of the analysts, because like the structures right there's and and you can use those structures as like the models to investigate the insights behind the companies and also the industries, and you can generate like the associations from like probably one model to another one, just like the value chains and also like the industry SWOT analysis. You can just generate like the associations between these two models, and then to give you more better connections and also better insights that you can form like the investment rationales. So you don't need to follow all the like the models to do the analysis. That takes a really long time. You can pick like the model that you preferred or you love it, or even like you understand how to do that. Just use that, and then keep the to conduct like those investigations. It just help you to understand more about like the companies and also the industries, and to better help you to formulate the investment rationales. And if you want to just using like those frameworks to do the analysis, you can like to draw it and then also include in your like the presentation, your slide decks, like the appendix. Yeah, so that should be really amazing. Because like if you're participating in like the stock pitch competitions, the appendix is the place you can put all your efforts in there. And if like the judge will ask you the questions, how'd you find these answers? And you have really solid supports to your like the results. So yeah, so this is just like the recommendations, but yeah, feel free to use those like the frameworks to guide you to conduct those research and better improve like and also improve like the like report and slide decks, like the qualities. And yeah, so if there's any questions for like the today's materials, feedback response, or something you or something that you'd like to learn in the next workshops, any stuff?
I just have a question for the next meeting.
Yeah.
How in depth are you anticipating the business valuation um meeting to be? Like, are we modeling from scratch, do you think, or How?
Okay, sure. So we will okay, I will demonstrate some like the page. Right here, so we will provide like the valuation methods and then like overall the models, how to approach the models and how to including like the details. Probably we'll open like the Excel sheet and then to have like the short live demos and to instruct you guys how to conduct the really good like evaluations. Because like valuation just like to play the numbers. You have really good assumptions. You have really good like the details. And the numbers you just found in the company research or like the industry research, and then you just input into the valuation, the Excel sheet. And then you can to get the values, and those values at the end is like the stock price. And then you can use the stock price and right there, and then you have really solid like the support to this stock price. And then if overall like the logic are really good, and that's that's like the really good like the reports deliveries afterwards. So valuation is like important part, but not the most important one. The most important one is the rationales and then the valuation. So, but we will instruct you guys the valuation. We will go through like like the recommended evaluations models and probably the live demos. Yeah.
Yeah, in details. So yeah, we're gonna have it like the Excel sheet and also like this deck that we are going to like elaborate like what is the most important stuff that we have to take a look over like different evaluation models, and also like how to conduct that in the templates that we send it out. So yeah, feel free to have more questions, like in-depth questions over there.
Yeah,
Are we
like
going
this one.
to be-
This yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Are we going to be going over how to connect the valuation we come up with the target price that we put on the investment pitch?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
So, yeah, Horace have move up a little slide up, and you go, yeah, so a little up, 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 up. Yep. So for here, this is actually how we get the target price. So we have different valuation method, and then we draw the target range, and then we figure out the target price within some calculations. That's depends on your rationales and how you trying to figure out the target price over there. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about like how we conduct the range.
Sounds good. I'm excited for that.
Yep.
That's amazing. And then for the next week, we will also instruct you guys how to make a really professional like the slide deck. Because like for the bankings, most of like the bank, they would like to see, oh, you can make really professional slide deck, and they will not instruct you that much, but yeah, that's really good skills to make a slide deck looks professionals. Yeah, and also we will cover that in the next meetings. All right, any more questions?
Wait, I have also like if you want to learn a specific evaluation method, or you want us to mainly focus on that evaluation method, please feel free to tell us right now or just message us. Yes.
Yeah, mostly we will cover like the discounted cash flows and then the comps. Probably comparable companies are more important because like the transaction analysis, probably in some industries, there are not that much of like the transaction or like the deal MMAs. So the comparable companies you are compared with like the similar type your competitors or like the market leaders. Depends on your company size and the market segments, the business units. But yeah, we will cover like the discounted cash flow first, and then the comparable companies.
Yeah,
if for the valuations, and then the present transaction probably like the optional one. Yeah, and then for like the leverage buyout models or like the MMA models, that's our totally different stuff. If we are going to like the for the IBs, the investment banking divisions, probably the LBO and the MMA are more really important. But if you are focused on like the capital markets, those that tools are not like the really related or useful.
Related over there.
Yeah.
So let's just end today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through Slack. And otherwise, yeah, you are free to go.